This is Texans TV. Texans Extra Points is sponsored by BHP and by Reliant, the official energy provider of the Houston Texans, and by your Houston area Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas.
We are ready to rock in Houston. Touchdown, Houston!
Are you kidding? What a catch! Oh, baby!
The Texans host the Patriots at NRG Stadium, so we got to talk about it and a little bit more. This is Texans Extra Points, and I'm so happy that you're with us. And we're happy that you're with us. My name's Drew Dougherty. I'm your host. Got the voice of the Texans, my good pal Marc Vandermeer with me. We've got some things to discuss. You ready?
Ready to bounce back, Drew.
All right, let's bounce. And let's first start with some news of the week. And for that, we turn to quick hits. And it was a tough week for Davis Mills at quarterback in Buffalo. But how does he correct mistakes, and what mistakes does he need to fix to get better against the New England Patriots?
I mean, I think the biggest thing from last week is just emphasizing protecting the football. I thought I might have forced a throw or two that obviously didn't end up well, and just being consistent with making smart decisions and putting the team in the best place to win the game is my job, and that's what I need to keep focusing on.
And speaking of quarterbacks, Tyrod Taylor should soon be off the injured reserve. But just how soon, and what's the timetable for number 5's return?
Well, we still think that, I think when we put him on injured reserve, obviously there's a certain amount of time he's got to stay there before he's back. But we're hopefully to get him back here in the next couple of weeks.
Earlier in the week, there was some shuffling at wide receiver, and gone is Anthony Miller. The team traded for him before training camp, and coming back off of an injury is Danny Amendola.
We've got a seasoned vet, a guy who's produced at a high level, who's been in the offense for quite a while. So, felt like we've got a player they played identical positions, and that was, felt better with Danny at that point in time.
The Patriots are the opponent in Week 5, and they're coming off a Sunday night loss to Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. But who is this bunch that's led by a rookie quarterback in Mac Jones?
He can make all the throws. I'm told he's a smart player. His play, just watching on video, says that. So he's running our offense and running it well, and it'll be a good challenge for us.
All right, so that's some of the news of the week that went down in Texans land. Marc, let's talk about the quarterback. It was a rough day at the office for Davis Mills. He did not play well. He was not alone in not playing well at Buffalo. It was a collective effort there offensively. But what are some things that he's got to correct and get better at for this week and the weeks ahead if he plays more?
Well, it's going to be a situation where the whole offense has to play better, right? It's not just your rookie quarterback. Running the football would be a big plus here, Drew, and it's been a big challenge for the Texans. They haven't gotten over 50 yards rushing in either of the last 2 games. They didn't hit 90 against Cleveland, so they've been going in the wrong direction in that category. And I think they got to kind of spread things out a bit. That's just my personal thought. Teams are overwhelming the line of scrimmage. Tough to run, tough for Mills to get pass protection, although sacks haven't really been a problem here. It's just been getting the ball moving on the ground, so you have play action possibilities and other things. And then when there are passing opportunities, just to hit the open man, let the playmakers do their thing. I think it'll be a big help if they can get Amendola back in the fold here and just find some different targets to move the ball around to for Davis Mills, because, look, coming off a 4-pick game, Mac Jones for the Patriots coming off a 3-pick game, playing a lot better against Tampa Bay in the rain last week. You have to hope Mills has a similar bounce back here for the Houston Texans.
Yeah, and one thing you do have to hand to Mills is the guy is unflappable. He is not going to shrink from anything, and he's going to keep going out and going out and going out, however good or bad that might be, and throwing the ball down the field. You want him to be more accurate, but you'd have to salute and kind of respect that just fortuitousness and fortitude, I should say. Not fortuitousness, but fortitude of him, don't you?
He's super tough. Look, Mac Jones is too. This is an interesting matchup. You have 2 rookies here, and both guys take a lot of hits, and they pick themselves right back up and keep going. And you're right, Mills, he shakes it off well as far as not letting it get to him physically, mentally, but he's got to play better, right? And like we said, it's a whole offensive thing here. I think he can also run the ball a little bit more. Now, you don't want to see that be a direct part of the offense on every occasion,
Right.
of course, but occasionally take off and run with it. He's got the legs to do it, and he keeps the defense off balance. Get a cheap first down every once in a while. That way, keep the chains moving, keep moving the ball down the field.
It's an interesting point you bring up because that was something that the Texans were doing well through those first 3 halves when Tyrod Taylor was playing. He ran the ball 4 times and he has 15 yards a pop when he's done it. That's good. Let's get that going. And what do you jiggle for the rest of the run game to have some more success, perhaps?
Well, we'll see what they do in the running back department here because I don't think it's all about who's running the ball, but it certainly helps. You have Ingram, very physical runner. Lindsey can be slippery. We saw it in the screen pass, Cleveland, that kind of thing, but you just haven't seen enough of that because he's been having trouble finding holes. Maybe there aren't holes to find. Who knows? It's tough to bounce to the outside. Burkhead, shake it up, obviously. And David Johnson, he's been used primarily as a third down back or long down and distance back, but maybe he can run the ball a little bit. We'll see. And last year, what did they do when they weren't running the ball well through the bulk of the season? They eventually went to more of a zone scheme with Johnson, and it worked out. I'm not saying they're going to do that here, but Tim Kelly's had a bunch of days to look it over. He, Pep Hamilton, David Culley. Let's see what they come up with against the Patriots. Top 5 defense. This is not going to be easy.
No, it's not. And you need to integrate your tight ends, and we haven't seen much of that over the course of the season, really, aside from the Jacksonville game. What's going on?
I think it's been a disappointment, really.
Yeah.
You know, well, look, it's disappointing when you can't score points. I mean, they lost 40-0. The tight ends, everybody's sort of on notice here, and you expected the tight ends to really factor in this year. Week 1, it looked really good, parts of week 2, and again, sliding in the wrong direction. Get it going against the Patriots because these should be easier targets. But look at last week. He finds Jordan Akins, nice pass over the middle, first down, fumble. Pharaoh Brown, a coulda, woulda, shoulda kind of missed catch opportunity on one occasion in the game. And I hate to single those things out, but look, in a game in which you're really challenged to get first downs even, those would really help to hang on to the football and keep things moving.
No doubt. All right, we referenced the run game. The Texans can run the ball because, as John Harris points out in the telestrator, they did it on this play even in Buffalo. Check it out.
Welcome to Texas Telestrator, presented by BMW. I'm your host, John Harris, and I wanted to take a look at the Texans' run game. Now, admittedly, it's not been good. There's nobody in this building that will tell you it's been good, but the bones of it are there. Let's take a look at our Microsoft Surface here and see how the good in the run game can really come to the surface. Wow, how about I just came up with that. I don't know how I do it, but here we go. Let's take a look at the Texans' run game here. They're going to be in 13 personnel. You're going to see all 3 tight ends right here, okay, with the YY wing right here situation. And then Eau Claire right here is in a sniffer fullback position. The Bills, you can see, react to it. They're going to be an over front. They're going to have Starlin Tulane at 3, Noah Sear, Harrison Phillips. And the Texans are just going to run a zone insert. It's kind of like a new wave isolation play. And so what that's going to do is they're going to run zone this way, and then Eau Claire is going to insert himself to help on one of the linebackers. So we'll take a look at it from this direction. And you can see Marc make a really good cut. You can see it start. Marc's going to start left, and then he's going to bend that thing back. Now it's up to Marc. How do I weave myself through there to get some yardage? And you'll see it here. He does a nice job and gets some good blocks. Now let's take a look from the end zone view because I think this is a better look here. You're going to see the zone. Everybody stepping this way. Now Max is going to help on star to give Marcus an opportunity to get over. Then Max will go to a linebacker, and Eau Claire will step up on a linebacker. So let's take a look at it. See the Bills check. They get in there over front. Got a lot of guys down in the box. But that's okay. Got a lot of guys to block them. And now we're going to run zone left. It looks right here like, man, Harrison Phillips, that's a tough block for Justin Britt, but he does the right thing, and that is just stay on the block, just take him where he wants to go, and then Marc will make the cut off of it. That's exactly what he does. Marc's got 3 steps, 1, 2, 3, to make a cut, and he already knows. Like, he hasn't even got the ball yet, and he knows that's trouble for me. But if the blocks on the backside end up being good, then hey, maybe there's something there, and that's exactly what happens. Max does a nice job posting up star to give Marcus an opportunity to get over, and then Max is going to bump off as Eau Claire goes up here to Edmonds. Now, take a look at it now. Now you got hat on hat, hat on hat, hat on a hat there. You got Marcus taking care of Star. Farrell's doing a good job staying here, and you got Max on this right here. And then Mark does an excellent job, right? That cut right off of Marcus. This is the one thing for running backs. Stay tight to your blocks. If you get out over here, maybe you don't have that opportunity to get there, but stay tight off the butt of Marcus Cannon as he's making that block, kind of burrow through, and all of a sudden, look at that hole open up. That's nice. First down run. That makes it look easy, but that's getting a hat on a hat and then staying latched on blocks. That's what the Texans have got to be able to do when they run the ball this week against New England Patriots and beyond.
Here's motion, and Newton is back to pass, and he's sacked! Outside the 25-yard line, Justin Reed on the DB blitz.
Well, Justin Reed picked the right time to get his first sack of his career. That was last year against the Patriots, who the Texans are taking on Sunday at NRG Stadium. We got the voice of the Houston Texans, Marc Vandermeer. I'm Drew Dougherty. These are the Ford Studios from where we're doing Texans Extra Points. It's fun having you in here to talk about this.
Well, I love being in here. It's about time you asked me back.
Well, things happen. But let's talk about this defense. 40 points, you see that, and you think, oh, well, your defense played horribly. You can't truly say that, though, against the Bills because so many times they turned the ball over, the offense did, and the defense was backed up. I think there was a little bit of encouragement. You can't say satisfaction, obviously, when you lose a game,
right.
But encouragement by what you saw. And, Lovie Smith sort of echoed some of that this week.
Well, I'm here to tell you that this defense can help you beat New England very well, keeping them to a low point total. They're perfectly capable of doing that. They were doing it against Buffalo.
Yeah.
The problem is it's like scales. Your defense looks really good when they're sitting on the bench and you're holding the ball on offense. That's when your defense is playing outstanding. Texans weren't able to do that at all last week.
Yeah.
Defense always on the field. They stop drives in the red zone. Look, you're within striking distance at the half. The problem is you couldn't strike. So back to what you're doing on the defensive side of the ball. You turn Buffalo over early. If you could turn the Patriots over a couple of times, I like your chances to win this game, but you got to play mistake-free or relatively on offense. They can get to Mac Jones. Patriots have trouble running the football. We all know that. James White is gone. Sony Michel works somewhere else. So you don't have a running game for New England the way you used to, the way they would like to with a rookie quarterback. He's played pretty well. All those consecutive completions last week. Look, on a night when they couldn't run the ball -1 or whatever it was net, Mac Jones kept things moving, and if the field goal goes down in the final minutes, you might win that football game with Mac Jones throwing these short passes, which is what he does. So I think they can keep this under control, but you got to go out and execute.
And they might also be down a couple offensive linemen, the Patriots, too. So that doesn't help their efforts because it's already a line that's been struggling. Okay, we've got some Texans trivia. Pipe down over here. I know you're going to chime in.
Oh, I want it.
I know. But the Texans have beaten the Patriots 3 times in their history. Who are the 3 quarterbacks who played, not necessarily started, but played for the Patriots in those wins? We'll have that answer later on in Texans Extra Points.
Brian Hoyer in the game, the rookie from Michigan State. Tom Brady is done. First down. Patriots at their 1. Fumble on the snap. Pollard recovers. Touchdown, Texans. Houston retakes the lead. A fumble on the exchange, and Pollard pounced on it for 6.
Going all the way back to 2009, and if you want to nitpick, it's actually January 3rd of 2010, so it's the 2009 season, but that's Bernard Pollard coming up with a takeaway, big takeaway, led to a Texans victory, which pushed them over the top, 9-7, first winning season in franchise history. You remember that one, Mark?
I remember it like it was 2 weeks ago, Drew.
And it was not 2 weeks
No,
ago,
it was
a long time ago. All right, Mac Jones, who knows? He was probably in elementary school back then or something like that. But he's playing pretty well. He struggled a little bit last week on Sunday night, but that's a rookie quarterback that seemed to be doing the right things. 1-3 is the record, but pluses, minuses, Mac Jones in your eyes right now.
Accuracy, short range, hit the open man.
Yeah.
Look, it has not been the deep ball that's been helping the Patriots out. And at times he's struggled, of course. And you mentioned the offensive line situation. Teams have gotten pressure on him. He's tough, like we said, gets right back up, takes the lick and keeps on ticking. So the fact that he's played in so many big games, and what you're seeing with these rookies this year is sometimes they take an enormous jump from week to week in ability and performance. Look at Trevor Lawrence against Cincinnati, played so much better. Look at Zach Wilson getting a win. Mac Jones looking so much better against Tampa Bay than he did against New Orleans when he threw 3 interceptions. So who knows what you're going to get? It's Forrest Gump's box of chocolates, and you're hoping Mills takes a huge leap this week, right? Coming off the Buffalo game. I think Mac Jones is somebody to be concerned with, but the deep ball hopefully does not factor in too much. You can't get lax and lazy back there, but you got to find a way to get on the quarterback, get the pressure on him, and let's see if they can do it at NRG Stadium, home crowd, eat.
I like it, and the Texans are hungry. They want that win. What about this Patriots defense? What have you seen so far from it?
Top 5 defense. Look, when the Texans took on the Patriots in 2012, one of the Texans' assistant coaches at the time told me, you're facing one of the greatest defensive coordinators who ever lived, maybe the very best, Bill Belichick. I don't care who is named defensive coordinator. He works out the game plan, and Belichick is supreme. He's facing a rookie quarterback. He's going to come up with something this week. You better be ready. Now, fortunately, you have a lot of former Patriot employees in the building here who can maybe work out a plan of what to expect. But again, execution, it's all about that. Let's see what they come up with.
All right, players to watch, really Texans to watch. So, Mark, who is your Texan to watch against the Patriots?
Mark Ingram. Mark Ingram gets positive yardage. Somehow, some way, Drew, he does it. He's a bowling ball, and he's one of the really heavy bowling balls. So no matter what happens, it feels like things are moving forward, and that's got to happen. You got to get this running game going. He's a leader on this team. O-line, get some holes going. Let Ingram run through them, and whatever the rotation is behind him, fine. But it's got to be about Ingram setting the tone here, physical game, bludgeon them, and hold on to the football. Because like we said, your defense looks a lot better when they're sitting on the bench.
All right, you take offense, I'll take defense. Speaking of that defense, I want Jacob Martin. He's going to be my Texan to watch. He's been getting close. He's gotten to the quarterback a few times. Let's keep getting there. Let's keep strip sacking the ball like he's done occasionally here. I think this could be a big game for him. We mentioned offensive line for New England. Not going to say shaky, but it's not at full strength. So let's see if Martin can actually get to the quarterback and make things happen in a negative way for New England. I'm going there as far as my Texan to watch. Now, the fans on Twitter, you took to Twitter and you went with the obvious choice, and it's the noble choice. It's the right choice. It's Davis Mills. You're keeping your eyes on the quarterback. Straw that stirs the drink. Pardon Mr. October, Reggie Jackson. But yeah, Davis Mills, he's the guy to watch as your Texan to watch here on Texans Extra Points. So stick with us. We'll be back in a moment with the answer to our trivia question from earlier, and we'll have keys to a victory. Don't go anywhere.
Texans Extra Points has been sponsored by BHP, by Reliant, the official energy provider of the Houston Texans, and by Cigna, together all the way.
Voice of the Houston Texans, Marc Vandermeer, is champing at the bit because he wants to answer this, but I'm not going to let him, because the answer is the 3 quarterbacks for the Patriots who have played when they've lost to the Texans over the years. Tom Brady, Brian Hoyer, because he played a little bit in the 2009 game, and then Cam Newton, the starter last season.
Trick question.
I didn't say started, and I made that clear. I said played. So anyhow, Mark, good to be with you. Good to be with you as well. Drew Dougherty here on Texans Extra Points. We got to get into keys to a victory over New England. What 2 things must the Texans do to win?
Pressure Mac Jones.
Okay.
And you mentioned Jacob Martin. He's part of that crew that's going to aim to do this. You brought up a great point on your In the Lab podcast with John Harris. That's called a plug. So the ball, they've gotten takeaways, right? Not against Carolina, right?
No.
But they got takeaways other than that.
Yeah.
Even in the Buffalo game. But the ball's been coming out. They haven't always gotten to it, but it's been coming out. It came out against Carolina. Came out again against Buffalo.
Twice.
Yeah, weren't able to get to those. But keep prying the ball loose. Yeah. Eventually, you're going to pounce on some of those. The ethic that Lovie Smith has installed in the offseason, that's there.
Yeah.
So they're getting the ball out. They just got to get to more of those balls so they can get those takeaways, get good field position for the offense, because that's what it's about. When your offense is challenged to run, to score, whatever, you got to get them some short fields. I know they had a couple last week, weren't able to score. Maybe it'll be better at home.
I love that one because, Lovie Smith earlier this week when he was meeting with the media, he said, we had 4 takeaways that we didn't get that we were really mad about. We had 2 picks that should have happened, we should have corralled, and then you bring up those two strips that the ball pops loose and there's just nobody around to get it. And that's the beauty of football.
Right.
That wasn't beautiful for the Texans, but that ball's shaped funny and it bounces in weird ways. As for me, I'm going to go with get 100 yards on the ground. It doesn't have to be all from Mark Ingram or all from David Johnson, but get 100 yards rushing the ball because it means the clock's moving, it means your defense is on the field less, and so much is going on. And then I'm going to be boring, and I'm going to go back to something that I always say, make a splash play on special teams. You need that. Andre Roberts, how about a big return? We've seen, and there's a lot of respect around the league for him. In consecutive weeks, we've heard the special teams coordinator for the Patriots say it, and then 2 weeks ago, we heard McDermott say that he thinks Andre Roberts belongs in the Hall of Fame as a special team. That's high praise. I don't know, but get something good out of Andre Roberts. How about that?
Yeah, and Belichick's probably going to kick off to him, force the return, the way things have been going, so maybe he can pop one.
Good point. Hey, good stuff as always. Fun to be with you, and we want to remind you, get your mammogram. 1 in 8 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer. So go to HoustonMethodist.org/pink for more information on how to get a mammogram. And please take care of yourself. It's Pink Ribbon Day. So you're going to see a lot of that on Sunday at the Houston Texans versus New England Patriots game here inside NRG Stadium. We really appreciate you watching. We'll see you again very, very soon. Till then, go Texans. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to know when we post new content.